I haven't done a Dr. Rochelle Ritchie story in a while. Well, it's time. Let's start with this one. Check this out. Report revealed shocking number of cops abuse children. Yeah, they showed 1,800 cops charged for abusing children. I kid you not. Check it out.
A new report shows that 1,800 officers have been arrested for child abuse, per an investigation by the Washington Post. Americans have been forced to reckon with sexual misconduct committed by teachers, clergy, coaches, and others with access to and authority over children, but there is little awareness of child sex crimes perpetrated by members of another profession that many children are taught to revere and obey. Law enforcement.
Wow.
The Post investigation has found that over the past 2 decades, hundreds of police officers have preyed on children, while agencies across the country have failed to take steps to prevent these crimes. We've reported on some of them right here at Indisputable. At least 1,800 state and local police officers were charged with crimes involving child sexual abuse from 2005 to 2022, the Post found. Abusive officers were rarely related to the children they were accused of sexually assaulting, which is contrary to the normative numbers of child victims. Fondling and exploiting. They most frequently targeted girls who were 13 to 15 years of age and met their victims through their jobs. If you recall, we've reported on multiple junior deputy or junior officer programs where children are taken from the community, from the local school district, placed in these intern or apprenticeship type roles at a police department. And then inappropriate relationships start between cop and child. There's more. The Post identified these officers through an exclusive analysis of the nation's most comprehensive database of police arrests at Bowling Green State University, as well as a review of thousands of court documents, police decertification records, and news reports. In case after case, officers intentionally earned the trust of parents and guardians, created opportunities to get kids alone, and threatened repercussion if they broke their silence. Unlike teachers and priests, they did it all while wielding the power of their badge and their gun.
And they get away with it because qualified immunity.
McNair, a former New Orleans police officer,
check this out,
was one cop the Post focused on. In May of 2020, Officer Vic Nair had taken a 14-year-old to the hospital for a sexual assault kit. When early that morning, the girl said a 17-year-old friend had forced himself on her. That day began what prosecutors alleged was a months-long grooming process. As the Post notes, quote,
and I also did 2 stories last year of a pair of police officers grooming 14-year-old girls. One was in Florida and one's in Tennessee. And both of them got no jail time, probation, and didn't have to register on the list.
His case reflects larger problems that police departments confront in conducting background checks, identifying red flags, and responding to complaints of inappropriate behavior. Specifically, Post wrote, Officer McNair was hired in 2007 despite a criminal record with multiple arrests and a conviction already against a juvenile.
Wow.
The man still was hired as a
Unreal.
police officer for committing battery against a juvenile. His sexually charged interactions with the girl he drove to the hospital, though witnessed by another officer, went unreported by superiors. He frequently visited the girl's home in the summer of 2020, telling new cops he was training that they should stay in the car while he went inside alone. And when concerns about McNair's behavior were reported to the department, police officials allowed him to remain on duty for a week. During that week, the girl said McNair sexually assaulted her. Reached by phone last year, McNair declined to comment for this story. In November of 2022, the officer pleaded guilty to violating the girl's civil rights, admitting that he locked her in his truck and touched her under her clothing. The city of New Orleans and its police department also declined to discuss the case. The Post,
Figures.
citing pending litigation as the reason they can't talk. The victim and her mother filed a federal lawsuit against the city and its superintendent of police in 2021. But while many school systems and churches have created practices and policies to root out predators, law enforcement agencies have largely targeted child sexual abuse as an isolated problem that goes away when an officer is fired or prosecuted, rather than an always present risk that requires systemic change. There is no national tracking system for officers accused of this kind of abuse. At a time when police departments across the country face staffing shortages and are desperate to hire, there are no universal requirements to screen for potential perpetrators. When abuse is suspected, officers are sometimes allowed to remain on the job while investigations of their behavior are left in the hands of their own colleagues. How sick is this?
Twisted and sick.
How sick is this? So not only do we have an Officer McNair who absolutely was allowed to engage in this horrific behavior, once it became evident to those who were in charge, I'm not just talking about those who were of rank with him, I'm talking about those who are in charge of the police department, he was still allowed to remain on the force. It's a negligent hire. He was hired with a conviction of battery against a juvenile. How does this happen? Well, it's not an isolated case, as the Post has pointed out. Mr. Mayor, obviously there's more to come after this bombshell report by the Post, but damn, they literally are hiring individuals to be police officers who already have convictions against juveniles.
And the bitch up part as well too is, you got these sick creeps are getting hired to be security guards when police officers, and when they have shady past, just like that one officer they said, and then when they get busted or when they get trouble or charged like that, they face very leniency sentence like that. They don't have to serve no jail time or very minimum jail time. I mean, it was a couple years ago, Eric Brandt got 90 days for chalk on the sidewalk, and a police officer who raped a female in Colorado near Denver area, that cop only got 90 days. A slap on the wrist. And like I said, there are cops out there who get very little to no jail time, and most of these don't even have to register as a sex offender. Not at all.
Doc, did you notice the similar language here?
Yeah.
We can fix this problem by getting rid of the isolated officer. Just get rid of this person and this problem is gone. This is not there's no need for systemic change, right? This is the same language we hear about officers that are killing black people on the street. This is nothing but a continuation of this unchecked power of how we do policing in this country.
Well, it's not just black people, it's just all kinds of people like that. I mean, you got cops going out there killing people who don't even get charged, who get no jail time, or if they don't get charged or they're found not guilty. Just a couple months ago, the 3 officers that killed Manny Ellis in Tacoma were found not guilty. They were vindicated. Kevin Days in Seattle Police Department, who ran over and killed Janami Condola, doesn't get charged. And what about Daniel Otter, who mocked her life and said she had limited value? What happened to him? Oh, a little light slap and reprimanded, but he didn't get fired as well too. I mean, it's ridiculous. You get cops out there just get away. Well, because you know why they get away with it? Because qualified immunity. It's about time we abolish that qualified immunity as well too.
When are we going to get serious about changing what we call police? It is bad, bad. This is
I mean, yeah, it's bad around. And there's another thing we need to do as well. We need to stop having these police officers committing acts, killing people like that, or beating up people because people have rights, because a cop has a power trip, or he's having a bad day, or her females get hurt like that. Instead of taking on the taxpayer, because we end up flipping the bill. We're the ones that have to flip the bill for a person when they file a lawsuit. The city, or the state, or the government, or the police department, or the officers like that. We need to take it out of the department, their trust fund, their paycheck, and their pension. And we also need to abolish and get rid of qualified immunity. Make them see that, hey, they're no better than us. Police officers are not, they ain't worth more than we are. I mean, just like I said, you had Daniel Otter says, oh, Janabi Gandula, she had a limited value. Just write a check for $11,000. You cannot sit there and justify a person's life saying it was worth $11,000. Her life was worth a lot more than just $11,000.
the systemic problem goes beyond killing citizens, children. The entire institution is devoid of checks and balance. And I don't know how anyone believes that an officer investigating an officer, when they believe in Blue Lives Matter and holding the blue more than anything else, is ever going to be.
Yeah, and you got people going to say, oh, Blue Lives Matter, back to blue. No, I have the attitude that says, fuck the blue. And like Eric Brandt says it best, ladies and gentlemen, blue lives murder. I mean, I can't go around explaining that more, and you're preaching and yelling that from the rooftops more than anybody. Eric was going around saying that the loudest and the hardest. He used to go around saying, bear back the blue. I have the attitude that says, fuck the blue. And that blue lives murder, yeah.
Equitable position or institution.
That's right. I think people forget that the police department is a governmental agency. When watershed management, when they have corruption, nobody expects watershed management to investigate watershed management. You always expect a third-party investigator that is truly neutral and not affixed to the department to investigate the matter. Naturally, more will come from this, but we'll bring you updates.
Well, I can't wait for an update on this one as well, too. With that said, I'm out of here, Mike. Y'all, peace out.